What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? If you struggle on how to do a top-down analysis, stay tuned because I'm literally going to be going over the step-by-step process of how I do my own. And again, it might not be the same as someone else's, but it's going to be the way I do it and what works for me. So it may not work for you, but I'm assuming it's going to help someone. So stay tuned for this video. If you want to watch me live stream every single day, make sure to click the WAP link in the description below. I literally live trade every day. It's pretty transparent. You can see me live executions. And don't forget to click that Apex 71% off discount. Okay, buy a few accounts. I use those for practice. Really good, better than Forex in my opinion. And yeah, it's not a scam or anything, if in case you guys are wondering. So yeah, let's get into it. So the first thing I do, right, when I'm coming into my live stream, right, I have like 500 to 600 people ready to listen to what I'm about to say. So I have to be very careful and I have to be very simple. Okay, simplicity is the key for top-down analysis. Now, a lot of people misunderstand. Like, I understand it's fine to maybe check the weekly time frame. That's fine. And by the way, it should be on NQ8, not MNQ. I understand it's perfectly fine to obviously check the weekly time frame. However, if you're not a weekly trader, you're not like a swing trader, there's not really any point. I mean, there's a point in checking it once and understanding where we are, and that's important. But like, if you understand we're in a weekly fair value gap, that's all you need to know, right? You don't need to check the weekly time frame a million times. Okay. I'm really, for what I do and how I trade the FEGs and the 5-minute and 1-minute, I typically do not go above the daily. Okay. Like, I'll check the daily, but is the daily candle really going to give me a bias for the morning New York session? Probably not. Okay. So when I'm doing my top-down analysis, I'll start with the weekly and I'll kind of be like, okay, where are we in the weekly? Are we inside of some sort of obvious fair value gap, whatever it may be? And I go down to the daily. Have we inversed anything on the daily? Have we made any order blocks in the daily? Those are the two key things I kind of look for. And I don't really use them for my intraday trading. What I do is I usually use the 4-hour and the 1-hour. Okay, so the 4-hour and the 1-hour. And the reason why I use these is because I'll look for inversions or strong displacement on the 4-hour or 1-hour. So right here, you can see we clearly inverse this 4-hour. So I know, like in this example here, when CPI wicked down, right, I know we're going to look for support there, right? And it also lined up with a BPR down here. So like, I'm using the 4-hour for my top-down analysis to mainly trade because, again, I'm coming to the market to trade in front of all these people. I'm only looking for a trade during that New York session. I don't really trade the PM session much because I just don't think it's as good. But I'm looking for a trade from that 8:30 time starting here to the about 11 o'clock. That's all I'm looking for, right? And if you really zoom out in the bigger picture, this is where I'm looking for the trade. Do I need a full weekly top-down analysis for this? No, I really don't. Right, as long as you understand like the hourly and the 4-hour, that's more than enough you need to know to kind of trade the morning session. So in this example here, when I come into the market, I see, okay, we bounce off of BPR. And while I'm on the hourly, I see, okay, price is clearly holding a hourly fair value gap. We make a new fair value gap here. So that tells me, okay, the New York session is bullish, right? Like that's all I do for top-down analysis, right? I look for the obvious fair value gaps, right? If you were to look at a chart right now, these would easily jump out to you. I guarantee it, right? This one and this one. They're the only one there. They're singular. They're just very obvious. We have a lot of displacement. So those immediately jump out to me, right? You don't need to go on the daily to trade the New York AM session because how is looking at these daily candles going to help me trade the New York AM session? It's not, okay? I understand, like, yes, knowing if it's an outside candle, like that kind of helped me fry it a little bit, and that's going to be a little more screen time. Understanding this is an outside candle and we were in an inside candle, like that does help a little bit because maybe it tells you, okay, we've taken out the high and low the other day. I'm going to be more of a scalper versus try to hold for a higher low. I understand that does help, but typically you will not need to know that, right? I only need for the New York AM session, what I do is I literally just, again, I get on stream, I look for the obvious fair value gaps, right? And I'm going to show you guys examples, right? If I go to my Discord right now, okay, and I go to index commentary, this was actually last night. Last night, when the market opened, I found the equal highs from Friday. We kind of had a big candle going to them. We inversed this tiny candle here. We had a lot of momentum. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm looking for these equal highs because we had momentum towards that liquidity pool, right? And then we form a bullish for value gap here. So I'm bullish, right? Like that is what tells me the bias for that session. And it's not going to be for the whole day. Okay, so if I just go back and stream. So here we go. 111. Bias wise, I'm just watching how we react to this 4-hour inversion, right? And if we get a long off it to the data highs, I'm going to long, right? And that's what ended up happening, right? And I said, if we go through this and the body closes back below this, we're probably going to be bearish the rest of the day. Now, if we go back to the chart, you can clearly see we end up holding it. We wicked way down, but the body didn't close below it. So I knew the bias was bullish as long as it held, right? So you can see that's a clear example. It was live time. That was not hindsight. And I'm literally just using the 4-hour, 1 hour, whatever I see, like whether it be an inversion or strong displacement, whatever. I'm literally just using it for just kind of a bias, right? And I'm not using that daily candle much, okay? Because if you want to be profitable like how I am, okay, I suggest just trade New York, get 1 or 2 trades, be done. That's your trade. Now, I understand there's going to be more scalpers trying to get a million trades. That's fine. Again, if you're on a live count, that's what you're going to do to be profitable, okay? That's what I do. That's what works for me. I got this guy in my last video, my order block video, he commented some big lecture. I didn't read the whole thing about how me identifying order blocks is wrong, but you got to realize I'm not using order blocks the same way as ICT does. I'm just using them how they work for me, and that's what I'm showing. So again, this may work for me. Maybe ICT doesn't do analysis like this. ICT ended up coming into my live stream on Friday, and he said he wanted those data highs just like me. Like he was aiming for them as well, but they never ended up hitting. So it just goes to show you don't have to trade the same exact way as ICT. I'm just sharing what works for me. I think this is the simplest, most easiest thing to do. And yeah, that's what works for me. Another example I want to go over here is if it was New York session, I would definitely use this for bias, right? But the problem with this is the candle actually closed over at 2200. And because 2200 is not a kill zone, it's 10 o'clock. Because it's not a kill zone, obviously I don't really care about an inverse at 10 o'clock at night. So this ends up failing, but that's fine because it's not New York. But let's say this is New York and the candle closed above here. Okay, then I would be bullish on the day because, okay, we inverse this. I'd be bullish for the AM session. This would be my objective. I'm looking for a trade to there, and I'm done. Okay, so that's literally how I do my top-down analysis. I don't really look at DXY much. DXY has been very tough lately because we've been in between 2 very, very solid fair value gaps, right? So there's not really a huge bias right now on DXY. I would say the weekly definitely looks a little more bearish, but just kind of see how we react to these. I don't really use DXY too much. It's not obvious right now. And again, ES I'll check and YM I'll check just for any SMTs. But again, typically most of my top-down analysis just comes down from looking for the obvious fair value gap on NQ. So this would be obvious, this would be obvious, this would be obvious, or whether it may be an order block. But that's typically what I do. That's all I do for my top-down analysis. And remember, I'm not actually taking a trade. I'm not putting a limit down here. I'm waiting for a lower time frame setup when we get down here. So the lower time frame setup could end up being way back up here because I see us react to this. So that's typically what I do. If you guys don't like it, then I'm not sure what to tell you. But that's all I look for, really. Displacement and fair value gaps on the 1 hour and 4 hour. I just kind of see how we react to them. And that's about it, right? Fair value gaps, right? Fair value gaps, inversion, fair value gaps, order blocks. Those are the 3 main things I look for. So that's it for this video. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Yeah, that's it for now. I'll see you guys later in the next one. Don't forget to use the Apex code. And yeah, peace.